Dala! So, welcome. Today I just wanted to come quickly and answer a question that was sent by a subscriber or a follower. I don't remember correctly if it was on YouTube or here or on Instagram, anyways. But I wanted to answer this question that was sent by a woman who has a child and who's not married. And she asked me what I thought about single parent families or monoparental families, and what my vision was in terms of African spirituality and African culture. So, whenever you're going to see this video, I hope this helps you, and I hope you are able to take this in consideration. So the first thing I will say is, when it comes to African culture, African spirituality, we have to know what we are talking about. Okay, and one thing that we need to know and to decipher is to understand what is a family in terms of African spirituality or in terms of African culture. Because when you understand what is a family in African culture, and I say African culture, African, because this is one of the overarching theme that you can find wherever you go in Africa. So sometimes I know it's important to be precise in what country you're talking about, which tribes you're talking about, with villages, with families you're talking about, in order to be very precise. But sometimes it's also really important to understand that there are certain things that no matter where you go in Africa, no matter which subculture you go into, things are similar. Things are very similar. Things are kind of the pillars of African cultures and traditions. And one of them is a family. And the family is not seen as mom and dad. It's not a couple. It's not seen as mom and dad and one child, mom and dad and two kids, mom and dad and the kids. The family is the broadest version of a family you can conceive. Okay, it's mom, dad, grandma, auntie, cousins, nieces, nephews, your third cousin, your third uncle, your grand uncle, it goes on forever. Okay, it goes on forever. And having a big family, and if you have a big family, you realize how huge and vast your family actually is in the African sense. Okay, your third cousins on your mom's side can show up and treat you exactly like your brother. You have to treat them like your brother. It's not some stranger that you need to know. It's part of your own family. And so you have to evaluate which kind of definition of the family you are living, which kind of definition of a family you are accepting, because that is going to play in terms of your own reality, in terms of how you're living your life, and how the experiences and the frustration that you may feel sometimes. So that's the first thing. Family in African traditions and cultures is huge. Extended families are included. Even sometimes your father's best friend is your uncle. So you see how vast your family can become when you start integrating everything that's coming from your tradition and your culture. So in that sense, given what I've already laid down, there cannot be a monoparental family. That cannot exist. Okay, that means whoever, once you have a child, whoever you had the child with, part of your family is that person, the family of that person, your family, you yourself, your entire family. So it will be very, very rare. I think the only case where you can find a quote-unquote monoparental family is when, somebody who's all of your extended family died. All your family died, and it's just you and the child, or you and the children that come out of that relationship. And that's pretty rare. I mean, unless you have been in a war zone or things of that nature, you won't find that's not the typical family in Africa anyways. Or even that's not the typical African family. That's not even a way to perceive that. So save yourself some trouble and some suffering by just stopping to think of yourself as anything that has to do with monoparental families or mono this or mono that. Okay, that child, in order for that child to come here, two people had to come together. Okay, and that's also understanding that whether you have a child or not, you play a part in terms of African family. You play a part in African spirituality, African culture, because the children that are in your vicinity, the children that are part of your family are also yours. Okay, so it's not because you don't want to have kids ever that you don't have to care for those children, that you don't have to extend your energy and your time and all of that towards them. Okay, you're part of that. That's why they say it takes a village to raise just one child. So you can never, and you shouldn't think that you can raise a child by yourself. You shouldn't. That's not the proper way. That's not the easiest way. That's not the way to do it. And I'll tell you. So save yourself some trouble and relax and understand that it's okay for you to take the help of your family, of your brothers and sisters. It's even okay for you to move back with your parents, to be with your parents and with that child while you're getting yourself, financially set or emotionally rested, or just so that you can have a moment for you to breathe and a moment for you to relax and understand that that support is needed because it's there for a reason. Even people who are still together, who are married and all that stuff, still need the support of their ex and of their family. Okay, your mother is still gonna come even if you're married to make sure that she sees her grandchildren and so forth and so on. So save yourself some trouble. Refute that idea that you need to be independent, because you don't need to do it all by yourself. And this is I'm talking to this as a answer to this the woman, because it was a woman who asked the question, but I think it also applies to if you're a man and you are single and you have a child and you're no longer with the mother of your child. As an African, if you view yourself an African, if you aspire to be into African spirituality or African cultures, you understand that family goes well beyond yourself and that child. What family involves everyone else. And I have to say, sometimes, yes, maybe you run away, you run off and marry this person against the will of your parents or God knows what, and your parents may be mad. They may not want to talk to you, your friends or family, whatever. But it doesn't mean that you should do it by yourself. It just means that you may have to seek out the assistance of another elder, of an uncle or cousins or someone else, because there's going to be someone else that's going to be there. You just need to find that person. That person is in the pack. Okay, so there's no such thing as a monoparental family in African spirituality and African culture. If anyone is talking about that or pointing you towards that or encouraging you into that, they're probably from the new school, from the modern school, probably from adapting to modern views, to Western modern views, but that's not the way to go. That's not the way I will encourage you to go. I will encourage you to look at yourself as part of a unit that's larger than you and your older or ex-partner or whatever. A unit that includes your parents, your grandparents, your cousins, your uncle, everyone else, your siblings, everybody else. So you see that you can never be by yourself. When you're talking about family, you're talking about several people. So it can never be mono anything. Hi, is it Abraham? Nice. Thank you for joining me. As I said, I was just answering the question of a subscriber and talking about African families. And I think it is important to have that notion that you're always part of a family. I think this is like one of the biggest thing about being independent, or what people call being independent, is that they refuse sometimes the protection of the tribe, the protection of the clan, the meaning that the nurturing that you're supposed to get from your family and from the community, and maybe grasping what does it mean for a child to need a village in order to be raised, in order to be fulfilled. And I know it's hard sometimes when you haven't been raised in such an environment where you have, your cousins, extended cousins, and all of that around you, nurturing you, playing with you. It can be hard to picture that in your own mind. It can also be hard if you have, conflict in your family. It can be hard to see that. However, if you do aspire to embrace African spirituality and embrace African culture, is one thing that you need to understand, that it's never just about you. It's never just all about you and the way you want to do it. It's also about the culture and the traditions, what the culture says, what the tradition says, what the experiences of those who came before you are bringing to you, so you won't have to make the same mistakes. That's what tradition is all about. Tradition is not there to oppress anybody. Tradition is based on experiences of many generations that came before you, and what they bring to you, the rules, the regulations, the entitlements, the rights, and the wisdom It's so that you can have a better experience. It's so that you do all of those things are supposed to make things easier for you, to make things go a lot more smoother. So it is up to you to see yourself as part of that larger unit called the family. And once you embrace that, then you can allow yourself to just relax and understand that it's okay for your sister to take your child to do this, your brother to do that. It's okay for you to even relax and be like, okay, and move back home if you need to. It's okay for you to allow yourself to have the resources so that you can now focus on finding the partner that is going to be that you nurture and support you all along the way. And there will be partners that are going to be there to support you and to love you and to love your child and be with you in all of the different good things, whether you're a man or you are a woman. Okay, so don't ever think the only way that is not going to happen is if you decide that it's not going to happen, if you give up, if you get rid of that desire within yourself. But I think if you're asking these questions, if you're wondering, and if you're asking all of that, you're already on that path. And I think it's going to be, nothing's going to be easy, but it's going to be easier when you allow yourself to lean on your family. It's normal. What is abnormal is being independent from your family and the culture from an African sense of the way, because that's not the way. You fit into the culture and you fit into the community, and the community supports you as well. That's what the community is for. And that support comes in for you to have the latitude to find that partner that you need to be with. Because, it takes two to bring that baby here. It takes a whole village to take care of it and to make sure he's nourished in all of those different things. And that is one step for you to allow yourself to find that partner that's going to help you, fulfill and be more fulfilled, to be at ease, and that's going to make things easier for you to live what your purpose is and do it in a way that's going to be delightful, in a way that's not going to push you to be hurtful to your child, have any resentment even towards the father of the child or the mother of the child if you're no longer with them. That is really, really important, that you don't fall into bringing up negativity about that person. That person may have made mistakes, that person may not even realize what they're doing or whatever, but don't waste your precious, precious energy being negative towards them. Okay, put that energy towards yourself, toward finding, and give that energy, give your attention to the person who actually loves you, actually wants to be with you. Give your energy to your child, or your children, and to your family, the people who actually matter, the people who actually count, and allow that other person to do their own path. Lessons come and go. We all learn lessons. Some of them are more painful than others, but they are lessons. They are not punishment, and you're not here to be victimized either. All of those things are happening so you can learn, and the tradition is there to support that learning process. This is why sometimes they have certain things that they ask us to follow in the tradition. This is not to oppress us. This is just an invitation for you to look at if you want to follow or not. Okay, so that is your answer. I'm just going to look so that I have comments. No person is an island. We African come from collective culture. The Western world. Exactly, Abraham. Nobody is just there by themselves or can claim to be independent. You can never be independent for one reason. It took two other people to bring you here. If you had truly had the capacity and the ability to be independent, you wouldn't need those two people. You will just manifest yourself automatically, and you will go as you please. Okay, and this is why for you to bring someone else, you also need somebody else. Okay, so I know there's many different perceptions and views depending on which tradition, which religions, which countries or culture you come from. But that's one thing. You may not agree or you may not accept the African way of seeing things, which is not, and this way of seeing things as a community, as being part of something that's larger and bigger than us, is not just an African way of seeing things. If you look at any indigenous cultures, that's one of the pillars. That's why you find them there as well. No one can succeed on their own, and actually no one wants to. No one should have to succeed on their own. No one should have to do it all by themselves. That's actually not natural. it may be normal now that people claim they want to go off and be on their own and all those different things. It has become normal, especially if you live in the West, but it's not natural. Okay? So, just leaving you and wishing you the best, and I encourage you, I hope like you take this in consideration and look at your family and look at the resources and the support that you can get while you're still raising your child, and accept that support. Accept to go back to your family. Right? I think sometimes when you see that you venture way too far with being independent and trying to do it all, trying to navigate your job, your work while you have the child, and seeing all of that coming back and not giving you exactly the experience that you want, I think it's time for you to say, okay, I've tried it and it doesn't work, and now you can lean on your family and have the support of your family so that you can do better, so that you can have a different experience. And I'm sure it's going to be the experience that's going to be easier. Everything is not going to be easy, everything is not going to be resolved just because your family is next to you, but it's going to get easier, it's going to be easier. And I hope that if you take the chance to explore that and to do that and to find those family members and to allow them to be family, to do what family do. I think it really going to benefit you in the long run. And please don't fall into that trap of being negative towards the significant other. Okay, it's not necessary. Depend on the hospitals. Yeah, exactly. The reason why in African culture we put family at the center, because family is everything. Family is everything, and I think it's important to understand that it's not just all about you. It's not just all about you. And the idea that family is at the center of everything is not something that's supposed to be, that you feel oppressed about. It's not something that you should be feeling, depressed about or anything like that. On the contrary, it's for you to know that you always have somebody to lean on. In the same way, when somebody needs assistance, you're always going to be able to help them as well. That's how it works. It's a two-way street. It's not just them, telling you what to do and all that. No, it's also them supporting you when you need it and being there when you need it, which is very, very important. And when you see yourself as part of that unit, as part of the larger, bigger family unit, something that goes beyond yourself, then you can understand that it is not your purpose to raise your child alone. It is not your purpose to raise, if you have many children alone. Your purpose is to continue to nourish that desire within yourself to find that partner, especially when you have manifested children. This idea of being independent is, as I say, is not part of our culture. It's not part of our culture. It's not part of our spirituality. We don't make it. We don't make it alone. On the contrary. So I think it will save you a lot of trouble if you actually decide to allow yourself and understand that the longing that you have for a partner, the longing that you have to love somebody and to have somebody love you is really important. It's probably utmost important. And I think when you look at what family is in the African sense, you understand how precious life is seen. Children are not a burden. Children are not something that you need to see as how much they cost and anything like that. And that's why you see people who don't have any money who want to have children, you want to have many children, because it's not about that. It's about the resources that come to you after you have them. It's about the nourishment, what they bring you. That's interesting within themselves. The value of life and the value of being here. And the ability that they will have to take care of you when you get old, when you don't have the ability to take care of you, not just your children, but also your brothers and sisters, your siblings, your family, the larger family. That's what they're there. That's what we call, the African family. Your best friend may become your sister or your brother. And as children, we know that because, the best friend of my father, the best friend of my mother is not, some stranger to me. She's my auntie. She's my uncle. And that's also speak about how much we value friendship. It's not something that, you know, you're friends today and off you go, and then tomorrow you have new friends. No, that's how deep we show you how friendship becomes valuable, where you become actually a member of the family. And you don't need any papers. It's all about the action that you put every single day. And so when you understand that, you do understand that it's important for you to continue to have that longing of a partner, and for you to keep believing that this partner is there, is coming to be with you, and that you deserve to have a loving partner by your side. So I hope this was useful. I thank you all for coming up, and thank you so much. And of course, yes, you can share if you care, if you think there's someone else who may like this or may need this. And of course, leave your comments, your questions, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.